just one.
That willing?
It just takes one martyr.
An army of one?
The martyr cell.
I think I just pitched that kind of rabbit hole here on this.
Oh.
I can tell
Oh,
you're like
cells.
extremely intrigued on this.
I don't want to go in that place. It's just such an unhappy place. Like, there's another one called Small Dick Problems.
I still need to see that one.
There's a subreddit called Small Dick Problems, and it's not a happy place
It sounds like a would you rather.
Is that a subreddit too?
No, it's your mom's house thing.
Have you ever seen that podcast? It's a comedy, husband and wife. They've got specials on Netflix. Tom Segura, Christina Przitsky.
Would you rather have a micro penis or be blind?
Oh man, I'd be blind.
Theo Vaughn said, I got a buddy I grew up with.
Who's both?
He was blind, he said it ain't that bad.
Oh, give me some more water, boys.
Get it out of the fridge if you want.
Yeah, the fridge has a button. The one upstairs in the kitchen. It's got a fridge water button.
Don't bother with the filter.
We need to replace that.
It's been like years.
So we definitely need to replace it.
We'll just keep the good stuff out of there. How much shit is on that blanket?
There are two big black splotches. They look like Rorschach tests.
Oil.
One more. You ever feel stretching down your lower back?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
When you're squatting, you said?
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It was more pronounced when I was going lower because I think I had a butt wink, which kind of, affect that.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
A bit too much wink action.
Wing cell.
That's too much.
I will give them credit though; they do have a sense of humor. Like there'll be sometimes I'll be like, just crying, laughing, just at some of like the jokes. I really didn't get off that subreddit. I've been going that subreddit too much.
Yeah, I can't. I think the incel tears, one of them, it must have been incel tears that made it to the front page and brought all that to my attention. Either that or maybe that's heard about incels and then I saw Vice do something about it.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ. It's just so much depression.
Strange time we're living in, as Joe Rogan would say.
Hey, have you ever done DMT? You know, people call him a gateway to the alt-right. You ever heard that?
Who said that?
I saw something on Reddit about it. I mean, of course, we're talking about Reddit here.
Yeah, of course.
The front page stuff. But yeah, they say that this group of people was discussing how Joe Rogan was a gateway to the alt-right because he doesn't challenge the more conservative guests as much as he challenges the more liberal guests.
Yeah.
And so he'll give people that they consider
A platform for it.
or alt-right, or I guess the newer term is alt-right adjacent. Because I guess, Ben Shapiro is Jewish, so they probably can't really slap an alt-right label on him anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe alt-right adjacent is
Man, we're getting into like freaking like trigonometry here.
Yeah. Is that an obtuse? Or what kind of angle talking here? Acute? So yeah, he was apparently Joe Rogan is on that spectrum.
Well, I don't think he challenges people in general unless their views are super extreme.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, probably the most challenging conservative, or the person he challenged most that was conservative, was probably Steven Crowder. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, there was some alcohol involved there. It got
Yeah, it got pretty heated.
yeah.
But whenever he was against weed,
yeah.
and that was actually the first time Joe Rogan actually kind of lost it, you know?
That's
It
the
was-
first time I'd seen him
Yeah, just being
do something like that.
He was actually kind of being a douche. Like, he wasn't, you know, being, like, objective about it, I guess.
Mhm.
So I think that's what it is. If you bring up something like so absurd, like, you know, weed legalization, you know, especially if Joe Rogan disagrees with it, you know. And then the same can be said about, like, leftists he has on where they, you know, want to give kids, you know, like hormone, you know, therapy to, you know, for, like, transgender children
Yeah,
and things like that.
like he challenged that one dude that has the Atom ruins everything.
Ooh, that guy was a mess.
I used to like watching some of his stuff, but he's kind of the way that he presents things is so douchey.
Yeah.
That pretentious, like that is part of the reason Trump got elected. You know?
Exactly.
Is that
Yeah, and
Some
you know
of-
that's kind of my issue too. With you know, instead of being like objective about something, like you're just insulting people.
Yeah.
Like insulting people, especially people on the right, is just going to get Trump elected again. You know, it's going to do the complete opposite of what you want.
yeah.
You know, probably the best way to do it is maybe to understand why they voted for Trump in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like they're gonna. I mean, those people aren't going anywhere. People that supported him first time, and so why not try to figure out why they did it? That's why Yang is so. You know, I mean, I haven't heard Gabbard, but even Yang, you know, he's.
That's kind of the issue with
parents
the
are
Democrats
immigrants.
right now in general is they don't have a platform. They like their platform is like anti-Trump. Well, that's not going to get me to vote for you. You know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I voted for Trump the first time, so why would I vote for someone that's literally your platform is anti that? It's like actually have something that you believe in that would help our country, not you're just anti something just to be anti that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Yang's got a cool perspective because his parents are immigrants, and so, but he's not like hyper lefty, talking about, you know.
I mean, shit, he went on a Ben Shapiro show. You know?
That was an awesome interview
Yeah.
because Ben Shapiro's. I thought that was perfect opportunity for Yang to have like somebody really challenge him on his
Yeah.
ideas. You know.
Did Shapiro? I didn't really watch it. Did he actually challenge Yang on anything?
Yeah.
He did.
I mean, they eventually they leave off at a couple of places, you know, amicably. It's not like they just stop a fight and then move on to the next one. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
you know, I can see your perspective, you can see my perspective. We just have to keep going.
Yeah, let's
so,
move on. Yeah.
but they definitely didn't see eye to eye on, say, healthcare, or Shapiro helped Yang or ask the right questions to get more details about a lot of these things that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the issue we have nowadays is like discourse. You can't have just a civil discourse anymore.
Even Shapiro said on the podcast, he's like, you
Yeah.
know, you're the only Democratic candidate that has agreed to do this.
Yeah.
That,
Well, I think you need someone like Ben Shapiro too, who, for the most part, isn't going to argue with you too much. You know, I mean, he'll challenge you, but he's not going to like start shouting at you.
yeah.
And
I
I think
think
that's
it's
kind
to
of the
that
issue
point,
because I mean, like, look at Facebook. I mean, you've seen Facebook, all these freaking arguments. People like losing friends over arguments about
Yeah.
Trump or something.
Mhm.
That's just absurd.
Yeah, to be able to get two people in the same room and it not turn into a shouting match like that. Like, I'm not saying that Shapiro is. Like, I agree with some of the stuff that he says, but I like the way that I could expect him to be a challenge. You know, I wanted to see how Yang would deal with a challenge like that.
Yeah.
And I thought he dealt with it great.
Yeah, and Shapiro's definitely a smart dude, you know. And I think the issue with a lot of like Democrats in general is like when they are challenged, it's not by the right people. You know,
Mhm.
it's someone that's going to shout at you. It's someone that's not going to bring up very good points. Where Shapiro comes at it, you know, from you know a very objective nature, you know, of things. which, I don't agree with everything Shapiro says. I mean, I would consider myself conservative, but I don't even agree with everything Shapiro says. He's a little bit too religious on certain subjects, because he always says, facts don't care about your feelings, yet there's some things he believes in just because it's religious and it's not based off fact.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those type of things I don't really, agree with him on.
Yeah. Even Obama called like the leftist. He didn't call it a cesspool, but let's call it what it is. He called it like a circular firing squad. They just pick each other off by not being left enough.
Yeah. Like, again, it's almost like the Olympics. It's like the oppression Olympics, and it's like who can be the most oppressed. And if you're just gonna do that the whole time, like, you don't have an ally at that point. You're just against each other, and you don't really have a cause, and you believe in nothing.
Yeah, even on Reddit, I think I've heard people talk about how much infighting there is amongst the Democratic Party.
Which you don't see that. I mean, you do see it sometimes with like Republicans, but I mean, not nearly as much. Like most Republicans want to build the wall. It may sound goofy to Democrats. A wall may sound goofy, but at least all Republicans want that for the most part. They all want the tax reform that Trump did. They all want those things. Where with a Democrat, it's like God only knows if you have some sort of position on something, there's going to be so much fighting over that position and disagreeing with that position.
I wonder if it would be similar if it was similar back in like 2012 when Obama was running again. Like if there was still this degree of infighting amongst the Democrats, or if that transitioned to the Republican side, if they were still more bound together as they are now.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could argue before Trump was president, there was definitely a lot of infighting with Republicans, because you had the Cruz people, you had the Trump people, that type of thing. And then you even had that with like the Never Trumpers, the first maybe year or two that he was president. But I think now there's a lot more commodity around Trump, where it's like, well, it's been almost a whole term now. There's only so much you can fight about, and you just kind of have to accept he's president, and there's a lot less infighting.
So maybe it has a lot to do with if your party's person is.
Yeah. Well, I think as far as like a Republican, he's done a decent job. For what they actually want to get done, he's done a pretty decent job. So I think when they saw his performance, it kind of like bonded people. Or it bonded like the Republicans more so than like the Democrats who don't really have a platform right now. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting question and subject. I can't really answer to the full extent.
I definitely in the past couple of years I've paid more attention than I did back in 2011, 2012 anyway.
Yeah, I hardly pay
but
attention
now
at all.
It's too much. It's like I just can't.
I don't even pay
stand
attention.
seeing
I don't even.
headlines.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on right now. It's almost like a constant 24/7 news cycle where every day it's something different. It's like some scandal or some bullshit thing that's happening. The Russia thing, was essentially a hoax at this point. So.
Well, we'll see. I think they still want to get Mueller to like testify,
But at this point, I'd say it's more of a hoax than not.
Yeah, maybe they're just. I don't know enough about it, but yeah, every day on the front page of Reddit, it's something about Trump, Mueller, something. It's like holy shit.
Like in a weird way, I kind of want a Democrat to win next term, because I want to see how the news cycle is. Because now that I actually do pay attention to it, or I did pay attention to it, I want to see the news cycle, because it's pretty obvious that the news is biased towards the Democrats. So I want to see how the news cycle is as far as like.
Depends on which news cycle you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends if you're talking about like Fox or CNN or something.
Or all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like the major ones, CNN, MSNBC, those are.
Most of the comedy shows, like was it not Jon Stewart? Who's the Trevor Noah? I guess is the Daily Show guy.
Yeah.
Like I can't even watch that shit anymore.
I can't watch him. No, Jon Stewart. If he had stuck around, that would have made the last few years much easier to deal with, just with the onslaught of propaganda, I guess.
Yeah. The thing that's annoying is that it kind of gets to the point where you're bridging the gap between like comedy and just like propaganda. And it's to the point now where it's just like propaganda. It's like I don't even want to watch it anymore. Like I like it when it's just comedy, where you're making fun of everyone. You know,
Yeah, Colbert was like that too. Like,
he like used to be like that.
yeah, on Comedy Central, Jon Stewart and Colbert, they had. That's where I would go for news, because I mean, it's just
It was almost like a fair and balanced, as Fox would say. It was like a fair and balanced take on like comedy, but for like news.
like you knew that you're going to get more of a liberal view
Slant
on
to
it.
it.
Yeah,
But it's not a.
but they would also
complete
call
slant.
out, Democrats for goofy
For
shit. But now
stupid
it's
shit,
like,
too. Red
now-
man bad or orange man bad.
but now Colbert's on, I don't know, one of the late night shows, and it's sterilized, and it's not just.
And that's another thing too. Like, not only is it too like political, they can't like offend anyone now. Like, you can't be edgy with your jokes.
Yeah,
It's
I wonder if that's
very
part of that
PG.
inviting, or some part of that infighting thing too.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Last set. Yeah.